Hello and welcome to the Wellness Rock Show with your host, Stephanie Deal. This is a sacred space where we dive deep into 5 pillars: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial to create optimal wealth in your life. In each episode, I will be your faith-filled friend guiding you on a transformative journey towards a godly and vibrant life. Whether you're seeking peace within spiritual leadership, inspiration for your wellness journey, or practical strategies for a successful lifestyle, Stephanie and the Wellness Rock are here to nurture every facet of your existence. Join us as we embark on a sacred quest to align the body, mind, and spirit in harmony with God's design. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Wellness Rock. This episode is going to be a good one because I feel like this is something that it's one of those more difficult things to go through in life. Like when you're going through a change in your life and you realize that you're becoming someone new and you're growing and you're developing and you're changing the way you used to be, you're dying to your old self, like there's gonna be a change in the people that you hang out with. And yeah, that can be really, really hard. I've gone through multiple seasons where I've had friends and then I start growing, or I start my own business, or I gave my life to Christ. Some friends did not come with me on that next phase of life, and that can be one of the hardest things to go through. I feel like a friend breakup is sometimes harder than like an actual breakup with your significant other, because I mean, it kind of depends on like how the friendship ended. If it ended abruptly, most definitely those hurt so bad, because it's just like, I didn't think you were that type of person. Like, I didn't think that you were capable of doing that. And sometimes like that's just like, it is what it is and you have to move on with your life. But in other ways, like if it's a gradual change, like you're both kind of just like, you know, I love you, but I don't think we're going down the same path anymore. Those still hurt but you kind of saw it coming. So it just kind of depends. But are you in a, like, clearly if you clicked on this episode, you're in a season where maybe you're thinking that your friends aren't really the right friends for you anymore. And I know that can be really hard. So first and foremost, before we jump into anything, I want you to know that I'm praying for you. And if you're going through this and you're experiencing some loss, some guilt, like some shame, maybe you feel bad about yourself, maybe you don't want to be seen as the bad person, like for me, that's what I struggle with the most, is like maybe people pleasing in a sense, because I don't want to be seen as the bad person, because I don't think like when you're intentionally letting go of a relationship, or you're letting go of a friendship, or maybe it be a business relationship in your life, or maybe it be a coworker that like you're always around and because you work with that person, and now I don't think that this is someone that genuinely is going to push me closer to my goals. So whatever it may be, I want you to know that if you're like, obviously if you're doing it for the right reason, like you don't have to please anybody but God. You don't have, like, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you. It doesn't matter what anybody else says about you. You know who you are. Be confident in who you are. Be confident in the reason that you're letting that relationship go. Be confident in the reason that you're taking that next step and where you're going, and be confident in who God is calling you to be. The only person that you have to please is God. And if you know His truth and you're speaking His truth over your life, then nothing else matters. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you. It doesn't matter what this person says or what this person does. Like, it matters about you, what you think of yourself, your confidence within yourself, and what God says about you. So I want you to know that, to be confident, to trust yourself in moving forward. But I also want you to know that it's okay to outgrow relationships. And that can be really hard to adapt to as well. I remember being, I think I was 21, and it was when I started shifting my life, and I was just, working out more. I was changing my eating habits. I don't think I was smoking anymore. And I just felt like I didn't fit in with my group of friends anymore. And I remember having a conversation with my stepdad, and my stepdad just like sitting me down and being like, you're moving in a different direction than they are, and that's okay. Like, sometimes the friends that you have right now aren't always going to be your friends, and that's okay. You have to be okay with that. You have to understand that sometimes God puts people in your life for a season, and that's all they're there to do, is serve in that season, and maybe a learning lesson for you in that season. It may be whatever it is. And like, sometimes God may put those people in your life for a long time, and then they just don't serve where your next self is going. Because if you're listening to this podcast, you're the type of person that is evolving. You want growth. You want to be better. You want to have a successful lifestyle. And so therefore, you're not going to always be around the same people. You're going to have to continue to grow. You're going to have to continue to evolve. And that looks like leaving some people behind. And I want you to know that it's okay. You're not wrong for feeling like you don't fit in with your friend group anymore, or that your friends don't align with where you're going. Nothing is wrong with you. If you're feeling this way, you're most likely going in the right direction, because God is calling you to more. God is calling you to lean on Him and to trust in Him and the things that He says about you, so that He can take you farther than you could ever imagine. So I want you to act like, if you're in this season and you're thinking like, is this friend a good friend to me? Or maybe you're questioning yourself, like, are you a good friend? Are you embodying these characteristics of being a good friend? Or do you feel like you haven't been a good friend as well? And I want you to ask yourself 5 questions. So the first question is, do they motivate me? Do they motivate you to be your best self? Do they motivate you when you don't have motivation? Like, or do they just coddle you and be like, oh yeah, you're fine. Like, no, you don't have to go to that networking event. You don't have to go to the gym today. You don't have to read those pages. It's okay. Like, you don't have to read your Bible today. Or do they motivate you? Do they motivate you and push you to be your best self? Because those are the type of people that you want in your life. You don't want the first type of people who are like basically agreeing with your lack of wanting more, because you know that you want more. You need people in your life who are going to push you and fuel you to want more for yourself as well. Do they challenge you? This is a big one. Like, are they challenging you to be better? Do they challenge you to, in regard to your relationship with God? Like, are they challenging you to be obedient to where God is calling you? Or are they taking you down? There's 2 paths in this world. There is the broad path that everybody wants to be on because it's the quote unquote easy path. It's the path to, it's just the easier path. It's the cultural path. It's like what everybody else is doing. Or are they taking you down the narrow path, which is the path that God has for you? The path that will create the person that God is calling you to be. But it's not going to be easy. Jesus never once said in the Gospels, He never told His 12 disciples that it was going to be easy. In fact, He said that the enemy came to kill, steal, and destroy. He gave us a warning. He gave us a warning that the enemy was going to be here to kill, steal, and destroy. So we know that that's coming. That means that we have to cover ourselves with the armor of God every single day. Every day that we wake up in the morning, we have to arm ourselves with the armor of God. The truth, the belt of truth, all of that. because the enemy is here to kill, steal, and destroy. The enemy does not want to see you happy. The enemy does not want to see you follow God's path for your life. He will put people in your life to bring you further away from God. Are these people in your life bringing you closer to God? Are they challenging you to be obedient to His word and what you're called to do? Or are these people pulling you further away? Are they wanting to go out and drink with you? Are they wanting to go out and do things you know you should not be doing? Or are they pushing you closer to God? That is a huge one. And you know right off rip if you know what I'm talking about. Like, don't play with yourself. You know what you're talking about. You have to have the discernment. And if you don't have the discernment, pray for it. God will give it to you. I promise you that. God will give you discernment if you ask for it. So, granted, God doesn't just like sprinkle a little bit of discernment. He's going to give you a situation where you have to be discerning. Just know that. Because God doesn't sprinkle patience. Oh, God, I need more patience in my life. God doesn't just sprinkle some patience on top of you and be like, here you go. You got what you asked for. He's going to give you a situation where you need to be patient. Therefore, your patience will grow. Your character will grow. And God gave you what you asked for. It may not be the way that you wanted it to be, but God gave you what you asked for. So, is this person challenging you? Do they challenge you to accomplish your goals? Do they know your goals? Like, do they know what you're really going for? And do they challenge you in being obedient to God? Are they pushing you in the right direction, down the narrow path? Do they have your back? If you can't call your friend when you need wisdom or you need some advice, or if you're not in the room, are they going to have your back when you're not in the room? Or are they going to jump in with everybody and talk behind your back? That's a really good indication to know if somebody is a true friend or not. Because if someone is your good friend, they're going to have your back in any situation. I can think of a couple friends off the top of my head that if I was in a room and someone talked bad about them, I'm cutting that off immediately and speaking truth over their name about who they are and who God says they are, because that's my friend. I'm not going to sit here and join in on the bad talk of someone that I care about, because if someone is really your friend, you're not going to talk crap about that person, and you're going to have their back in every single situation. So, when it comes to that, does this person have your back? Do they hold you accountable? It goes back to challenging you. Like, are they holding you accountable this goes back to the motivate and challenge, honestly. Are they holding you accountable to do everything that you say you're gonna do? Friends are meant to... Let's look up the definition of friends. I'm just curious, because let's look up the actual definition of a friend. A person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection. A person who has a strong liking for and trusting in another. So you have to trust that person. You have to trust that they're going to hold you accountable. You have to trust that they're going to challenge you. You have to trust that they're going to motivate you, that they're not going to talk behind your back. Trust is a big thing in a friendship. Do you have that trust? Are they holding you accountable? Can you call them when you need accountability? That's a really good indication on whether this person is a good friend. Or, again, think back to yourself. Are you accountable? If your friend called you, would you hold them accountable to what they said before? Or would you just be like, it's fine. Your character, it's going against your character, but, like, it is what it is. No, if one of my friends called me and it was something against their character, I'd be like, girl, snap out of it. This is so against your character. Like, I'm gonna hold you accountable right here, right now. And I've done that. I do it to my friends all the time too, especially my one employee. I hold her accountable all the time.